But I got to tell you, after the State of the Union, I'm not so sure that is true of the congressional Democrats that we saw at the State of the Union address. As the President of the United States said very well, you watch their reaction to some of what he was saying, and all I could think was, these people are kind of crazy. A 6-year-old girl hurt by a human being who never should have been in this country in the first place. And she's hugging her dad, and she's so excited, and you can tell, and I think everybody's heart feels very, you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, and then I look over at the congressional Democrats, and they're just scowling. I will say I took special note of one thing that she said, though. Kelly said that I'm the coolest vice president in American history, and I said, Kelly, that is a low standard. That is a very low bar, but I do think that I clear that bar, but I think that was a low standard she set me to. But let me say a few words of gratitude before we get started today, because I'm so grateful to be back in this great state with all of its amazing people. You all know this, Wisconsin is a state with a proud tradition of building great American products with Wisconsin hands, and that's what we're here to celebrate today in this great facility. Now, that would not be possible, of course, without the workers and the leadership of Point Precision. And I've been learning a little bit about this facility just because I knew I was going to come here today. 165 great Wisconsin employees making great American products at a good wage. This is a place that rewards dignified work, and this is a place that makes America and the whole community richer. So you guys should be proud of yourselves. I want to thank the family, Joe and Cindy, and their beautiful kids, and all. It looks like we got some grandkids here, Joe and Cindy. That's amazing. Life's greatest blessing, of course. So great to have you guys. Great to see you guys. Wait, what is today? Thursday? Should you all be in school right now? I caught you. But this is a good excuse, right? The Vice President of the United States comes to town, so you ought to get a get out of school for the day card. But I want to thank a couple of other people here, because all the things that I'm going to talk about, all the things we've been doing in the Trump administration would have been impossible without a couple of great congressional allies. And so in particular, I want to call out Representative Derek Van Orden. My dear friend Derek, it's hard to miss him. Thank you. I got to tell you, sometimes in Washington, you get to Washington, there are people you can trust, there are people you can't trust. Derek is one of those guys you can trust to always fight for the people who are in this room. He knows exactly where he came from, a proud veteran. And Derek was talking with me backstage. He's like, we got to do a little video together just so we can get it out there for the congressional campaign. And I said, okay, absolutely. What do you need me to say? And he said, well, just say that, we fought alongside each other in Vietnam. I said, Derek, if we were Democrats, we could get away with that, but I don't think that's going to fly. We're Republicans. These media reporters are not going to let us get away with that, but there are so many great things about Derek, but all of the amazing things. No taxes on tips, that happened because of Derek. No taxes on overtime, that happened because of Derek. No taxes on Social Security, that happened because of Derek. So if you are a citizen in this district and you see a big tax refund check come next month or the month after that, whenever you file your taxes, remember it was Derek Van Orden who made it happen, and it was congressional Democrats who tried to stop it. So we're going to send Derek Van Orden back to Washington? Yes. We've also got President Trump's endorsed candidate for governor of Wisconsin, Tom Tiffany. Tom, please stand up and be recognized. Another great guy. Another guy without whom we could not have accomplished all the great things that we did in Washington, D.C. Now he wants to come back home and serve as governor. Are we going to make Tom Tiffany the next governor of Wisconsin? There we go. And then finally, if I'd had a few people stand up, I want to recognize Representative Grothman. Where's Representative Grothman? Thank you, sir. It's good to see you. Where is Representative Brian Stile? Brian? A great guy. We're not in Brian's district, but a great guy. We've got Wisconsin GOP Chairman Brian Schimming. Where's Brian Schimming? Thank you. State Treasurer John Lieber. Where's John Lieber? Thank you, man. Thank you for your service. And finally, State Senate President Patrick Teston. Patrick, where are you? Thank you. Now, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the stakes coming up in November, because it feels like this election in November is very far away. But if anything, the State of the Union should have showed us that we cannot give power back to congressional Democrats. Now, I am fundamentally an optimist about this country. I believe most people, most human beings, most American citizens, whether they got a D next to their name or an R next to their name, or they have no political affiliation, they're good people. They love our country. They want our country to thrive and prosper. But I got to tell you, after the State of the Union, I'm not so sure that is true of the congressional Democrats that we saw at the State of the Union address. As the President of the United States said very well, you watch their reaction to some of what he was saying, and all I could think was, these people are kind of crazy. These congressional Democrats, if you think about all of the things that they were doing, and I got to tell you, of course, I've got the best seat in the House in many ways, right? I'm sitting right next to the Speaker of the House. I'm sitting right behind the President of the United States. And I've got one internal monologue going on, one thought in my head the whole time, which is don't make a stupid face for 2 hours, which is hard for me, when you're on TV for 2 hours and the Democrats are doing crazy things. So I'll give you a little lay of the land. So to the left, my left, is all of the Republicans, okay, because I'm sitting right behind the president. And to my right is some Republicans, but mostly the Democrats. And so I see the reaction of all the congressional Democrats, and it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. So you say, like, for example, you had this beautiful little girl, had such a sweet moment with her dad. You may have remembered. She was probably 6 years old. She had been assaulted by an illegal immigrant. She had had a very bad, I think, medical prognosis, but it turned out that she was okay. This 6-year-old girl, hurt by a human being who never should have been in this country in the first place, who was led into this country by Joe Biden and the Democrats, and she's hugging her dad, and she's so excited, and you can tell, and I think everybody's heart feels very, you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, and then I look over at the congressional Democrats, and they're just scowling. They cannot clap their hands for a 6-year-old who survived an attack from an illegal alien. What is that? What kind of a person can't stand up and cheer for an innocent young girl who's doing well, who's showing the entire country strength and resilience? And then the president had this line, I'm not going to get it exactly right, but he said, if you believe, stand up and cheer if you believe that the American government's first priority should be to look after American citizens instead of illegal aliens. And all the Republicans, including Derek and everybody else, stands up and starts cheering. And then you look over the Democrats. Complete silence, no reaction at all. The one thing that got at least some of the Democrats to stand up and cheer was the Olympic hockey team, which we're, of course, very proud of. But you got to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, what is it about a political party that cannot stand up and cheer for a 6-year-old girl who survived an attack? What is it about a political party that can't stand up and cheer for the fact that we have rising wages and low inflation for the first time in a very long time in the United States of America? What is it about a political movement that sees the mother of a woman who was murdered on a bus? Because the president highlighted this woman, her 22-year-old daughter was riding on a bus to work, was killed by a violent criminal who was let out of jail 13 times by Democrat leadership, should have never been on our streets, and then murdered an innocent girl. We recognized her mother, her strength and her character and her grief, and I think we all kind of grieve with her a little bit, and the Democrats cannot even stand up and cheer for that. And so the question of the next election is not, do we want low taxes? And of course we do. It's not, do we want a secure border? And of course we do. It's a more fundamental question than that. Do we want to give power back to the people who opened our border, who raised your taxes, who won't even cheer for a 6-year-old girl who was wounded because of their bad policies? And I think our answer to that is hell no. We want to give power back to the people like Derek Van Orden who fight for us.